Yeah, we also have the Riki franchise.
Okay.
Very exciting for us because it's going to help us to reach our goal of opening 5,000 spa locations in the next 5 years across the globe.
5,000.
Sounds like a big audacious goal, but trust me.
It's very audacious.
When you
I
have
love
franchising, yeah, Riki owned will continue, but the franchising
Mm.
gives people also the opportunity to become entrepreneurs in the wellness industry. We also have the consultancy. It would please you to know that maybe one of your favorite spas, for those of you watching, if it's not a Riki, we may have been the ones to build, design,
Help them
layout.
set it up.
Yeah, so we do that. We've done that with a number across Nigeria as well. It's interesting because we don't feel like it's competition in any way.
Hey guys, welcome to How They Did It with Trisha Biz. On this show, I take you behind the scenes of successful African entrepreneurs, change makers, and creators, showing you the journeys that led to their success. Today, I get to tell the story of a $10 million wellness brand that started with one goal. She just wanted to create skincare products that were made in Africa and put Africa on the map. Now, this brand has slowly evolved into a chain of spas that in the last 7 years has offered 395,000 services to so many customers. I'm standing in Oriki. Welcome to Oriki. I will be sitting with the founder, Joycee Awosika, to find out how she did it. Let's go.
My name is Joycee Awosika. I am the founder of Oriki, and welcome to the show.
So I have the delectable, intelligent, brilliant, I'm running out of adjectives. Joycee Awosika with me. Hi.
Hi, Trish.
Finally, we've been trying to do this interview for
A long time. Thank you so much for your patience.
Thank
I'm
you
excited
for
to be
saying
here.
yes. Yeah, welcome to How They Did It. Great. So we're going to start from the bottom now here. We're going to go all the way back to why you packed your bag. You see, many of us are trying to jack back to the abroad. You packed your bag from God's own country. I came to God's second country.
Trisha.
How? Why?
Guys, I need to correct that. This is God's own country, okay? Nigeria. She's joking, but how? Why? I mean, it was a calling. That's the best way I can put it. It was a nudge. You know, I was anxious. When I say anxious, I just felt like there was more.
Okay.
It also helps that I hadn't been and I wanted to discover.
Okay, so before then you had never been.
I had never been to Nigeria before.
Okay.
So it was like a discovery opportunity for me. And when I discovered it, I was like, wow, there's a lot of opportunity here. You know, it sounds interesting, right? Because people feel like all the opportunities over there.
Over there.
But what I mean is that this is a developing land. This is a place where there's so much value you can add with almost little to no effort. Not saying I want to do things without effort, but literally you can add value in simple ways. And that caught my eye. And I came and I didn't leave.
Wow. Okay, so how did you dabble into business? I know Oriki wasn't the first thing that you started. So just walk us through, you know, how you started business and then how you eventually ended up with starting Oriki.
Yeah. So I mean, I had been doing business as a younger as a child. In fact, my parents nicknamed me Miss CEO at a young age, just because I was always looking to monetize things. Always, whether it was like not even trying to joke around, but lemonade stands, started a babysitter's club at 13, was doing hair for community children at a young age. But really what happened was when I got to Nigeria, I was in my industry, which is the power sector.
Okay.
So I was an energy economist and I was working at the Ministry of Power. And I felt like if I'm going to choose to live in Nigeria, I want to be able to provide more impact than what I was doing at that time. And impact to me looked like having people, you know, being able to employ. So employ people, being able to create something that could bring limelight to Nigeria. That was actually the driving force behind it. So living in Abuja at the time, because Abuja was where I chose to move to, I started thinking of, you know, what I could do. And the idea of Oriki really just kind of fell in my lap.
Okay. So you started in Abuja.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was in Abuja. I was working as a special advisor to the Minister of Power, working on the privatization of the power sector.
Okay.
Very exciting times because obviously at that point everyone was hoping that this would solve the power issues in Nigeria. The distribution companies, all the different companies were being privatized, and private sector companies were coming to run them. And it was exciting. I was actually in charge of performance analytics and research. So I traveled around, checked out the different power plants, gave reports, and it was very good times. However, there's something I realized about working in government at the time was that there was a ceiling. When I say a ceiling, not a ceiling of achievement, but a ceiling of like how much I could really contribute to solving the problem, right? It took more than me. It took a whole bunch of a million parts coming together to say we're going to solve this situation in power. And while that was a driving force and it's very impactful to work in that role, I really wanted to have more control of the amount of impact I could give. And that was why I started Oriki. Now, Oriki started as a product range. So the whole concept for me was that growing up in the US, we saw brands and we see brands every day, Body Shop and whatnot, that sell these body care products, you know, natural skincare products. And they tell the story of how they're impacting these children that live in a specific village in Burundi or whatnot. But yet, where is that proudly African brand that could compete in the global space? So that's how Ricky started. Ricky started with a product line using natural ingredients sourced from Nigeria and other parts of the continent. And the goal was to push it worldwide.
Interesting. Wow. Okay. So how did you know where to go to produce packaging? You know, like all the 9 yards.
Such a good question. It took a lot of research, and I didn't know. Right. So what I knew first was that I had a knowledge gap.
Okay.
I wanted to learn more about how to manufacture the products. And I didn't have a manufacturing facility at the time. So it required me, first of all, getting formulation knowledge. And that was like my first base of just like, okay, Joycee, extracurricular activity is to get a certificate from the #1 formulation school online. It was an online course. And so I did that. And that was like the first step into, okay, this is how you actually create a proper formulation for a serum. It's not about just mixing ingredients in a bowl and packaging it. Contrary to what a lot of people think, this is actually the science behind it. And so I began working on that. But the next step was, how do you find a manufacturing facility within Nigeria? So that was my big goal that I was looking for at the time. And that was when I started coming to Lagos from Abuja on weekends. And I met someone whose father had a manufacturing facility in Lagos. And I went on a trip to go and check it out. And God bless them, but unfortunately, the facility was nothing I could ever use. I remember that day coming back and crying, hot tears, like, so it's going to be impossible. I've done this work, but there's no way I'm going to be able to produce here. No way. And someone just said to me, actually, he was my boyfriend at the time. He's my husband now. He said, you need to not give up on this dream. And you need to travel and find another place that you can manufacture. I went to Canada, visited 6 different firms, and found a contract manufacturer that agreed to source all of the ingredients
from Africa. Oh, wow.
And that was how Oriki started. You know, I felt like I would be fraudulent or I would be a liar if I said that this is a proudly African brand, but it was completely, you know, people have different rules of thoughts and things around that, but I wanted to market being proudly Nigerian, proudly African. And I still felt there was a disconnect. Like I was manufacturing abroad, but I solved for that later on. But yeah, that's how we started. We had a contract manufacturer in Canada.
Great. So this was when? What year?
2014.
2014. Okay. So how did you then transition from products to spa? That was the next step.
So after I registered the company, started working on the products, formulations turned into real things. I was sampling them. I started thinking, what's the best way to market this? And it was going to be e-commerce.
Okay.
But in doing research, I realized that I'm not sure the Nigerian market was ready for all natural. You know, at the time, this was 9 years ago. Are they ready for this whole all natural concept? It's not going to change your skin in 4 days or 2 weeks. It's
Get
true.
2 shades lighter.
I'm not gonna have that on my, it's just gonna be all about getting you skin fitting, giving you the best skin, and the best glow, for your own skin type. And started thinking about how I was gonna do it. And then I went for the World Economic Forum in Addis Ababa, meeting so many other entrepreneurs and young people doing amazing things. We got to talking. He said, you know what? The only way you're going to be able to do this, you have a good point, is to create an experiential marketing opportunity for people to engage with the products. So you have to open a space. And here I am thinking, I wasn't going to rent a space. I was going to have these products maybe in like a warehouse or in the home. And as they were sold, you just package them and send them out. But in that same trip, someone asked me to pitch what would I like to do if I wasn't working in the power sector? And I pitched the opportunity right there and then. And they decided to say, listen, we want to support you on how. So when we get back to Nigeria, let's have some calls. And that started my journey of looking for a space. So Trisha, the spa was never a part of the plan. The spa was the marketing experiment. So what we did was, let's create a try me section, and then let's ensure that when people are having facials, they're using the product range. Okay. And that was how the spa started. So to me, I remember telling my husband, he wasn't my husband then, but I remember telling him that, listen, if I'm opening the spa, it means more upskilling, because I had no intention of learning how to operate a spa. So I'm doing one, and that's it. So we'll look at it as a flagship. And I gave myself so many reasons. I'm like, oh, Aveda Skincare, they have one flagship spa. This company has one flagship spa. This will be our model. And then going forward, it'll just be products. I was in for a surprise.
Wow. So you opened this first spa what year?
In 2015, October.
Okay, so that was a year after
the
products. But at this point, how were the products doing sales-wise, and how were you marketing this supposed new type of products in a market that wants the opposite?
So the products were not moving the way I wanted them to move. We had actually launched the space of the Try Me section 4 months before the spa opened. So we had the products ready, and you had our website going. We were using social media to share back then. But it wasn't as much. People were always asking the same questions like, but is this going to change my skin? What do you mean by grape seed serum? This is a grape seed change. That was the questions. And we kept saying, no, it's about skin fitness. It's about this. And we were just trying to preach a message that was falling on deaf ears. Interesting enough, we found that our demographic was the older demographic. So they would come in. I have an employee who was with me before we even opened, a team member. Loveth and I, they'd walk in and they would gravitate and they would say, give me 6 of all of this. Give me the eye cream. Eye cream. I need eye cream. Like, my eyes are getting hollow. And we'd be so excited. But the younger population, they were not interested. When the Try Me section launched, we literally were able to get people coming in. So now they just wanted to try me, take the scrub, put it on their skin, use it. They wanted to use the face mask, smell it, feel it, and that was okay. But when the spa opened, we saw an increase in product sales.
Wow. Okay. So the whole experiential thing really did bring in revenue. Okay. So the first spa was where?
In VI on Ojo Olobo Street. What we really did was take the upstairs of the Try Me section and turn it into a 3-room spa. So it wasn't even purpose built. It was an opportunity to just try this marketing experiment, and it wasn't ideal. I mean, because if you want to create a spa, you think serene space, soundproof it. No traffic really in the spa. But unfortunately, downstairs was an entire retail floor, very beautiful space, but the upstairs was us makeshift. I used to cringe because sometimes if you're walking up the stairs, someone's having a massage, they can hear you. They can hear you talk, So, but guess what? It was our opportunity to prove product market fit. It was our opportunity to prove that we had something. It took the spa taking off to prove that, but it ended up working out.
Great. So how the spas now progressed?
So about a year and a half into the first spa, we started getting customers asking, why don't you open in Lekki? I don't want to come to VI. And I remember thinking to myself, VI and Lucky, they're not
You're
far
not
from each
far.
other. But that was what customers were saying. We took
Mm,
note of it. But remember my stance. My stance was,
just one.
I'm not opening another spa. Like all this people management and having to make sure towels were fresh and clean and fragrances. I just was like, I'm not opening any other spa. But the questions kept coming. And then we started getting phone calls from buildings saying, hey, we have a space. We think Oriki could come in here. Can we collaborate? So these were forward-thinking people who were saying, let's collaborate. And one of them was Beauty Atelier. And I came in and we opened up a small space in hers, and it was fantastic. I mean, we were booked every day because we both brought value to one another's businesses, you know? And so that was our second location in Lucky Phase 1.
Kachi is fantastic.
Yeah, she's amazing, amazing entrepreneur. And we opened there and people were like, okay, yes, Lucky. And we were like, okay, you can only do facials, waxing, certain things there. It was for specific services. And so the demand still kept coming and the calls kept coming from buildings. And I started thinking, well, our customers are demanding. It's something to think about. And it was the typical situation of you listen to what your customers are saying.
Okay.
And that is where we ended up starting to look into more opportunities to grow.
So today, how many spas do you have?
So today we have 7 spas. We've built 9 in the past 7 years.
Wow.
And we're currently opening 10 more.
Wow. I just want to do one. Never say never.
Never.
So what do you look for when you're opening another space? In terms of location and other things, what do you look out for?
Thank you for that question. So we're very data driven.
Okay.
And for us, our data has to inform our decisions. So what do we look for? We look for a space or an area. First of all, let's talk about the area in which our target market is either working there or living there, right? And our target market is, people would think 1%. It's not. It's, how would I put it? Upwardly mobile people, people who are working class, people who may work in different industries, but people who want, some are aspirational. They want to experience a spa for the first time and then they get hooked. Some are just like, I want to take care of myself, but they're not the 1%, right? And we look for them where they're positioned. So it has to be like a high traffic area. And then we look for square meters. Okay. So we've done the analysis now to the point where we know exactly what square meters ticks off our box. Okay. And when we get that, we know how much, what we can create in the space. We have spas of different sizes. And in the spa business, on the wellness side of things, right? Oriki has many different tentacles, but on this side, it's all about occupancy, just like a hotel. How many rooms can you fill at the same time and continuously? So what we do is we just ensure that we can get a certain number of rooms out of the space. And that way we can know we can really achieve the revenue amount that we want to achieve. And then lastly, building, we like partnerships. Okay. In many cases, even if it's not, we are in some hotels, but even if it's not a hotel, nearby, is there a gym? Okay. Nearby, is there a popular beauty space? These are very important in informing our decisions. Interesting.
So is it that you reach out to those people to cross markets, or why do you need to be near a gym or a beauty space?
So naturally, the gym feeds into the spa in terms of wellness. We find that we have a very similar demographic. So in our Ikeja location, shout out to iFitness, we're right next to them. Okay. In the same property. And what happens is that naturally people are saying, I'm working out, I need to book my massage. And this is where they go. I need to book my facial or my pedicure. And this is where they go. So we're able to do a lot more partnerships, co-marketing efforts, co-events, and just feed off the same database.
Oh, right. That's interesting. So I don't know I've seen conflicting numbers on the average occupancy for spas in Nigeria, but it looks really low. I think I saw an average of 30.
You hit the nail on the head.
30%. Oh, okay, 30%-ish. But then here you are opening up location after location. So are your occupancy rates different from the average?
Very different. And I say this with all sense of humility, but one thing that Oriki has been able to do is provide an offering where our occupancy hovers between 90 and 95%.
90 what?
We also have situations where in some locations, you can't get a booking unless you're booking days ahead. sometimes even
Wow.
a week ahead. Um, this goes back to the old age, do you focus on your competition or do you know? So I haven't really stopped to focus on why the spas that are lower are
Mm.
not, but what I focus on is what we are doing. There's a
Mhm.
lot of things that we try to do. First of all, we're trying to promote a message that wellness is a lifestyle. It's
Mhm.
not a luxury. So we do a lot of things in the way we care for our customers and the way we even get people to think about us on the top of their mind when they want to gift others. Um, corporate partnerships, things like that really help us people to see Oriki as the place they want to go to for
Mhm.
that pampering. So yeah, it's interesting because our occupancy completely
Defy
defies the
statistics.
statistics in Nigeria.
Love it. So what do you think has helped from a marketing point of view or growth strategy point of view that keeps people coming your
Yeah.
way?
So we look at every customer as a funnel. We look at them through a lifetime lens.
Okay.
So when Trisha comes in and has a service, we like to map how Trisha heard about us or how Trisha came in. So it could
Mhm.
have been that Trisha was gifted a gift voucher. And if that's the case, we know then that we want to convert Trisha to being someone who comes in regularly, and we do that through a number of initiatives, right? Membership, loyalty, our newsletters, and whatnot. But beyond that as well, one of the big turning points for us was when we took our gift cards digital.
Okay.
When we took the idea of giving the gift of relaxation, it increased our customer base by times five
Oh.
immediately because you have customers who, if we look at their frequency on our data charts, they may have come in 4 times during the year, but they've bought over 25 times
Mm.
because they're
For
buying gifts and
people.
they're gifting. And guess what? Every new person that comes in is a new funnel
Mhm.
that we're now trying to take through the same journey. Another thing that we've done is partnerships. We want the insurance companies in Nigeria to look at us as being the location that they choose when their patients or their customers need to have a wellness service. And we have those type of relationships every week, every day. I don't know if I can call HMOs, but they're booking. They have
Mm.
money credit down and their customers are coming and using the credit. Same thing with oil and gas companies, same things with tech companies, various
So do
industries.
you reach out to the companies?
So over the years, they've all given us the idea. They reached out to us.
Oh wow.
But it's interesting that you ask that because we've come to realize that if the demand came from them to us, it means there's something out there.
Mhm.
So we now have a very concerted effort in trying to reach everybody.
Okay. So
Yeah.
there's now biz dev going on.
Yes, biz dev.
Interesting. So you started with products, then moved to spa, and I know that then you moved to manufacturing.
Yes.
So how did that happen?
So remember my pain point was that we couldn't
The
manufacture in
manufacturing out
Nigeria.
there.
And I remember turning to Lovett and saying, one day, Lovett, we're going to be able to manufacture for others and ourselves, of course, first. So in 2020, that was the year, the
Mm.
turning point. We decided it's quite interesting because when everything kind of went quiet in the world and people were not sure what was going on, we had to be very innovative on the spa side because it could
Okay.
easily mean that you stop in your tracks and say, that's it for us. We're a high touch industry. We have to have our doors open to make revenue. But what we did was we were innovative and we spun out another subsidiary, which is basically the Uber for the wellness industry, where people can book a service on demand anytime, anywhere. So our therapists were out doing services daily. This was about 4 weeks, 5 weeks into COVID when they started the lockdown period,
Relaxing.
and then they released the lockdown during the day for a few hours. We were out doing services, but the spas remained closed, and we had a bit of a break from all the different landlords. And so we said, now it's time to find a space and start working on manufacturing. Let's stay busy. So we found a space situated in Lekki Phase 1 and opened our first facility. During COVID, we
Wow.
partitioned this place, created all the different rooms needed, the production floor, storage, everything, warehousing, and we started producing our own products little by little. So we started phasing out the ones we were manufacturing and turning them here. There were a number of issues from packaging, for example. The best packaging is sourced from abroad. So the ability to get that, we had to see who was available here. But we found companies who actually, that's what they do. they bring packaging in from other parts of the world, and you can get what you want. And so we began to manufacture. And then towards the end of 2020, beginning of 2021, we had brands just casually asking, if you guys manufacture for yourself here, can you manufacture for us? And that was when the division of contract manufacturing opened up in private label. To date, we manufacture for over 41 brands.
Wow.
Other brands.
That's a lot of brands. This is me interrupting your watch time to tell you to like this video, share it, and also subscribe to my channel. You're still watching How They Did It with Trisha Biz. Then it's interesting that why do you think, let me turn this question on your head. Why do you think all these companies reach out to you? Is there something they see in the brand where, because on an average, people are doing the hard work, reaching out and trying to do business. But all through this conversation, all I've heard is they called, buildings called, companies called. So I'm like, is there something that you think you really got right with establishing the brand that has attracted different types of people? Yeah.
I think that there is an aura of excellence associated with the brand. I feel as though we were very intentional about processes. Now, this is internal work, right? But it speaks to what's externally displayed. So everything had to be excellent. Yes, we made mistakes. We're far from perfect. But in general, even how we showed ourselves to the world via social media, there's a method to it. There's a structure to how we look, even to how our team members speak, even to your five senses, what you experience when you come into an Awosika location, smell, touch, taste, everything. And so I think it just started catching on with people. And what I noticed is that if I'm having a conversation with you and you just mentioned to me casually that, oh, I need a massage service, Awosika started becoming synonymous with massage or going to the spa. And that was honestly our customers doing the work for us, but based because of the intentionality of the excellence.
Okay, so you have, how many subsidiaries do you have now under
7.
the group? Say what? So we've spoken about 4, right? The product, the spa, manufacturing. Oh, we've spoken about 3.
Yeah.
What are the others?
Okay, so Unwind.
Okay,
Unwind is a big baby. Like, it's going to do extremely well, by God's grace. But yeah, Unwind is basically the Uber for the wellness industry. It's basically saying that you may not have the ability to come. You might be tired. You might be at work till late. We come directly to you, to your doorstep. But the thing is, we've democratized the sector because it's not a Reiki therapist.
Okay.
It's anybody certified professional. They just have to go through the certified onboarding, take your course, everything. So Unwind, to date, we have over 150 providers on the Unwind app. Okay. It's on Android and it's on Apple, and you can book. So Unwind is one subsidiary, Awosika Training Institute.
Oh, okay.
Is very, very important to us because it's another gap that we've seen in the system where basically people do not have the skills, but they want to join the industry, and so we're able to provide that as well. What haven't I mentioned? I've mentioned the retail products, right?
Yeah. Yes. So that's 5 now.
Yeah, we also have the Awosika franchise.
Okay.
Very exciting for us because it's going to help us to reach our goal of opening 5,000 spa locations in the next 5 years across the globe. Sounds like a big audacious goal, but trust me,
it's very audacious.
When you have franchising, Awosika owned will continue, but the franchising gives people also the opportunity to become entrepreneurs in the wellness industry. We also have the consultancy. It would please you to know that maybe one of your favorite spas, for those of you watching, if it's not Awosika, we may have been the ones to build, design, layout. Yeah, so we do that. We've done that with a number across Nigeria as well. It's interesting because we don't feel like it's competition in any way, but we feel like it's one of the ways that we can help build standard in the sector and help people who, and this was it started before the franchise. Now we have the ability to also offer, the franchise as well to people who want just the whole template in a book. So yeah, those are our 7. Right?
Wow. So which of them, based on contribution to the total pot, which is the biggest contributor? Yeah. What are the top 3?
So the top 3 currently right now are in the order is Awosika Wellness Spas, Awosika Manufacturing, and Awosika Retail Products. There's three of the biggest drivers of our revenue right now. But we see the mix changing, especially as Unwind comes on board some years down the way. And then also manufacturing. My dream is for manufacturing to be the top driver, even above any wellness spas. That manufacturing is the key.
It's the key.
Yeah.
So now you currently manufacture for 41. What's your goal there?
My goal there is we currently in our facility we're able to produce 1 ton of products a day. We're going to be moving
That's a lot.
It's a lot. So we're going to move to a facility that produces 12 tons per day. And my goal there is not even just a number of brands. It's being able to be the one-stop shop for any cosmetic or personal grooming existing brand or anyone that desires to open one in Africa. So I have a dream of people even saying that, listen, I currently produce with my New York manufacturer, and I want to start selling to an African market, but I don't want to be exporting. I don't want to be shipping from New York. So can we just sign with you, give you the formulas and SOPs, and you produce for us? That's my dream.
Very big dreams. So if we look at all of this, what's the business worth, or what's the revenue?
Yeah, so currently we've just been valued at $10 million. I know that because we put in the work to actually prepare for investment, whether or not we decide to go with it or not. But we, when you want to go big, I'm sure for many entrepreneurs you've spoken to, you need funds. You need money. And currently to date, we've consistently plowed all profit back into the company. So we open locations based on our own profit. We've never taken external funding.
I was about to ask that, have you gotten funding to open any of the locations?
No, we've never gotten funding to open a location.
Not even a loan?
No, never even gotten a loan.
Oh, wow.
So we are just about to open that world because it changes things overnight. Now that we've proven our model, it's been proven for years, but now that we're solid in our model, we know our net margin, net profit, we know our gross profit. We're very clear on what we can take. We're going to be doing a mix, and we can bring on equity. And so that's where I know the valuation from. And we can also bring on debt facility if and when we want, and literally allows us to open more at the same time.
Wow. My question has finished. Can we go home?
Let's continue. It's so much fun.
So I think one major thing or one major aspect of running a business that, entrepreneurs always complain about are the people. And speaking to especially service business owners, they find it very difficult to scale because they're scared of, the people are going to go away with my key trade secrets. It's different from selling shoe and bag. You're going to go with my trade secrets and all of that. Or people just are badly behaved and, just up and leave. And next thing they're starting the same thing or whatnot. So how have you been able to get the right people for the different roles across all of the across the entire group, and how you're able to keep them?
Yeah, wow. I don't ever want to downplay the fact that it is difficult in a service-based business to manage people in terms of keeping them happy, also ensuring that your business is protected and safe with the kind of information you give them. But I do believe that there is a way. And I do believe that, yes, you will likely have situations that will hurt, painful, you'll get burned, but you learn from them. What we've done is, first of all, we ensure, let's talk about the side of what we do to keep them. Our company culture is extremely important to us because I've studied brands that seem to have this larger than life persona where, team members stay long. I'm talking globally, not just Nigeria. And what they do is they built like a tribe-like, cult-like kind of culture where everyone feels like they're a part of this family. They feel like they're belonging. So we do that with Oriki. So let me tell you something as small as the name housekeeping department. We don't call them housekeepers. We don't call them cleaners. These are just small things that I'm giving you my own experience. We help them realize that they're spa attendants. They're attending to the spa and its environs. They know that when they come in, they can become anything they want to be. The onus is on them. So if you're an exceptional spa attendant, you can find your pathway through the nail tech journey. You can find your pathway to coming through OTI, subsidized, covered by us, learning how to be a therapist. There's a pathway. Every single team, even the ones that come in at the very top, Management level, there's a PDP, a performance development plan. I want to know what you love and what you want to be. How can we help you get there? We've had people with us for 4 or 5 years that want to go into broadcast journalism. You would do it with Oriki. You would try. You'll create the Oriki TV channel. We're doing that now, right? Things like that, because she came in as a customer service rep. And when she went to school in Ibadan, we kept her, gave her a remote position. She's currently in Ibadan, finishing up a master's, and is currently completely in charge of our digital marketing, inquiry, customer service. Was promoted, now is moving on to the next journey with Oriki. The stories you hear of the humans of Oriki are people who come in and they become transformed. And it's not even, it's just by learning what is interesting to them, what they want to do, and making sure we push them in that pathway. That's what we do to keep them. So you'll find a lot of people who've been with the company 4 years, 5 years, 7 years, 6 years. That's just, even therapists, they don't leave many times. Have a team member that has an expertise that they've brought along. You also realize that they likely have goals and things they want to achieve. So how can you come alongside them to help them achieve? So perhaps, when you see talent, like let's give an example of a 5-star chef, they come in and join the organization. That person, if they had the means, could open a restaurant around them. So you upskill them, give them training, invest in them, and then in return, they sign a bond saying that they would add value to your organization for this amount of time. Obviously, as well, legally, you protect yourself when it's trade secrets. So yeah, we have an entire manufacturing team. They know formulations, right? But specific people have that knowledge. And then again, at the end of it all, after doing all you can, legally investing in them, you just leave the rest. Because the truth is, there's not much you can do beyond those few things.
Because some people will still sign and they'll still be gone.
So what can you do?
What do we do?
These are the risks of business. So as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, you always want to be thinking. At this point, I think to myself, so if you want to steal our serum, which is one of our best sellers, and a certain product formulation and run with it, your product's not going to bear the name Oriki. All the work we've put into creating this brand and stuff, you can start from scratch, but are you going to market that, serum like Oriki? You've done your worst. It hurts that you would do that, but you're not going to affect my bottom line. I mean, sometimes they can. People can actually be mischievous and do things that would affect your company. But as a business owner, just always be looking for mitigation strategies to help that.
So do you think that being young have people underestimated you because of your age, and they're like, what does she think she's doing? Who does she think she is? Have you, walked around that? Because as you're speaking now, I'm like, how many employees do you have?
101.
101?
Yes.
Oh, wow. And I'm like, some of them are older, etc. So how have you managed, whether it's employees, whether it's partners, whether it's customers, people feeling like, because you're young, then they're entitled to something or a certain behavior?
I mean, the number one thing I get is when people meet the founder or Riki, they're like, oh, I thought you were some older woman, somewhere. And I think in general, people expect a different persona. But I don't worry too much. I just truly believe in creating processes, being excellent, right? So as long as I'm creating processes, creating structure, being excellent in what I'm doing, then my age is not of a concern, in the sense that you may have whatever opinion you have, but my work is speaking for it, right? And in a sense, I'm vindicated by whatever kind of negativity or thoughts you have towards someone being younger. Now, when it comes to working with older, I don't know if it's just the confidence in just trying to build this company and build it with certain values and structure that I don't even see age or think, or even, I wouldn't even know if they're kind of looking at me like, oh, she's a young girl and she's talking to me. I treat everyone with respect. A lot of our team members are older than me, and they all get the same amount of respect. And I believe that we're all in here to build, and I will try my best to give you an enabling environment, empower you, and age shouldn't be a factor.
Okay, so we're standing in one of the Oriki
Yes,
stores, right?
we are.
So how are you able to keep the cost low, seeing as the business model is primarily brick and mortar? So you have to have the space,
Yeah.
and with all the inflation, the rising cost of living and doing business in Nigeria, how are you able to manage profitability from the fiscal spaces?
Yeah, so for us, we have a pretty standard and strict type of inventory process and expense process in the sense that when we do group buying, so across all locations, all of the supplies needed to run an Oriki spa are done in one entity as a whole. That allows us to enjoy discounts and benefits in buying. So we pretty much keep the cost quite minimal on the equipment and the supplies really that we need. The other benefit about it is that once you set up our spa location, the equipment and all, it's a one-time cost. And after that, it's typically just the maintenance, which is factored into, and monthly, quarterly maintenance, depending on what we're talking about. The biggest expenditure, of course, is going to be the overhead of the rent and, personnel. But it's pretty much, and it goes along with, the growth. So our bigger locations may cost more, but then, of course, more revenue. So that's how we cover it.
Okay, so no matter how the prices go up, you're able to just balance up on the back end.
Yeah, so the back end is we're always looking for ways to bring down costs through increased, volume. So when we buy more, the unit costs go down, and then it's pretty much just a standard cost really across the company. Yeah.
Okay, so what challenges have you faced?
Yeah.
Running this business for almost a decade.
Yeah, so just like any other service business, the biggest challenges have come with people and creating standards. So it looks great and wonderful to say you want to scale and grow and expand, but then how do you keep the standard from location 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5? So for us, people is at the core of everything that we focus on in Oriki to drive our operations, to drive our growth. And what we've done there is just paid a lot of attention to our people and culture department, made sure that we have a unique way in which we recruit people, ensure that they understand the Oriki way before we actually give them a permanent position. And once you really empower your people to have the values that you want them to have, the rest is just ensuring that they have the standards, they have the structure and systems to be able to flourish.
So your top 3 challenges?
So I would definitely say people, having to consistently create standards, to make sure that everything is consistent across the company and the group. And then our typical one, is just the infrastructure in Nigeria. Things are a bit harder to do and to manage and to handle. We have some locations, for example, we have to worry about power more than others. Things like that. So we've had to create more solutions at other, like we have inverter and solar at other places, and some places the power is stable. So those are the.
So what advice do you have for entrepreneurs who are looking to thrive doing business in Nigeria, whatever industry?
AK, I'll start with the emotional type of advice. Keep your head up, right? It's going to be hard. It's going to be a journey. But honestly, anything worth building, it doesn't happen overnight. So you will have to have sweat, tears. You will have to put in the work. Keep your head up and truly keep trying. But on the other side of things, I think that in my studies, and I'm not just using this because I love structure and I can preach about it and talk about it all day. I'm using this from also just analyzing the top business people around the world. When you start your business, you need to always be thinking about the sustainability, the systems you're putting in place to ensure that business can revolve around you. So if I'm speaking to you as an entrepreneur today, I'd really, really recommend that you begin to look at all of the components of your business and create systems for them to be able to stand on their own without you. Give you one example, Trish, if you don't mind. We're standing in one of our locations. I don't know the last time I was here. And I don't say that to pat myself on the back, but I come into the spa when I want a service or when we have a general meeting.
Nice.
It's because we've built a system in which every single location can stand alone, can operate, the people are empowered. There's processes that ensure that the engine flows even in my absence. And I see that being a big issue here.
Yeah, with so many businesses. So if I just write on that, what's the one thing that you say they can start with? So I want to structure my business. It's now the new buzzword, structure, systemize. What's the one? How can I start? What's the one thing I should do?
One thing you should start with, right, is how do you keep track of your customers? How do you measure how your customers like or do not like your business, right? So at the end of the day, if we're in business, you're in business and you're supporting or you're supplying to someone. Someone is your customer, right? And oftentimes I see entrepreneurs build this business, focus on making money, but not focus on that customer, their happiness, their retention. You know, it's much easier to sell to a repeated customer than it is to acquire a new customer. And so what are the ways in which you're tracking even how they enjoyed their service or they enjoyed the product that they got from you? That should be something you systemize. Something as simple as an automatic email that goes out or a call or a check-in. It depends on how big or small or where you are in your journey. It could be, if you're small, you could start with someone making a phone call to check in, or even just take it technology-wise, people sending in a how did you like this? Receive a 10% discount if you fill this survey next time. Very important to track, because without your customers, you have no business.
Fantastic. So my final question is always an on-the-spot question. And you can guess, or if you have the actual number, fantastic. How many bodies have been pressed in the name of massage in Oriki over the last...
I know this number.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So in the past 75 years, we have provided services. We've done 395,000 services.
Huh?
Yes.
300 and what?
95,000. I cheated, because that's not just pressing bodies. That's also like facials.
Okay, yeah. Just
but 395,000 services in the past 7 years.
In the past 7 years. Wow. Interview's over. Thank you so much, Joycee.
Thank you.
All right, guys. I'll see you on the next episode. Yeah.